Hey guys, hope you're doing well. I wanted to do this video today on a very common question that every OCD sufferer asks at some point, which is what do I do when I'm feeling very triggered? Or what do I do when I'm feeling very anxious? And also looking at the importance of carrying on doing your homework even on days when you're not doing that well. But before I go on, please subscribe to the channel. And if you're interested in our coaching services, you can click the WhatsApp link in the description below and we will get back to you as soon as possible. So, think about this. Let's say you have a really bad trigger, right? At times, the trigger can last a few hours. Sometimes it can last a few days. Sometimes a few weeks. Maybe it might take, if a trigger is really serious, or maybe you're having a full-on setback. It can even take a couple of months to really feel like okay, you're over that now, right? So in that time period when you're feeling super anxious and super bad, right? And you feel like maybe you've fallen off the wagon. You were doing recovery work quite regularly. You were working on your exposures, you were working on your beliefs, you were going on doing very well with life structure, right? But then maybe a trigger happens, or sometimes even a trigger doesn't happen, and it's just the fatigue of doing recovery work every day, right? It because at some point you do get tired. Again, it's the same as I was having a one-to-one call the other day, and we were drawing parallels between going to the gym and working on recovery, right? With going to the gym as well, there you might be going to the gym with full motivation and drive for a few weeks, and then at some point you'll just feel fatigued about, oh my god, I have to go to the gym. And today I don't feel like it. And I feel lazy, I feel slow, I don't want to do it. Why do I have to show up? Because even just the act of showing up for yourself can feel quite exhausting and tiring. And it's exactly the same with OCD recovery work, right? If let's say you have an exposure that let's say there's a song that you have to listen to on a daily basis because it's a very triggering song for you. After listening to it daily for let's say 2 weeks, after that you might start feeling a bit tired that oh my god, I have to do it again. Now here's the important thing. First of all, it is important to carry through even with that period of fatigue because that's where your main hurdle is at the moment. A lot of people give up working on recovery or doing the important things when they start feeling demotivated or fatigued and tired from constantly putting in work with recovery, right? They give it up. They're like, ugh, I can't be bothered with it. I just want to just live my life for a couple of weeks, not think about OCD, not do anything at all. This is too tiring. This is too triggering. I just want to keep it all away. That takes you from like a 0 to 100, and that fluctuating approach often never really does you any favors either, right? So what you really have to first think about is, can you carry yourself through that bubble of feeling tired and fatigued for showing up for yourself to do recovery work, right? Can you do that? Can you push a little bit more? Because most of the time with recovery, especially when you are suffering really chronically, you are going to have to do work on most days. You're going to have to do a lot of work when you're not feeling that great, when you're feeling tired, demotivated, scared, anxious, underconfident. Those are the days when you still have to put in that work. So, taking yourself through that curve of when that bubble starts to appear, it is extremely important because that is where you're going to perhaps also have a breakthrough moment as well, because you'll be able to push yourself to do things even in that period. But let's say you have like you go through like a really bad trigger, or like you're having like a full on setback and you're just like, ah, like this is too much, I'm feeling really anxious and super really hard to get out of even bed and do all those things. Now on days like that, what's also important is to remember that maybe you don't have to do anything 10 on 10, right? Let's say the recommended homework is, whatever it is, it's like 3 tasks that you have to do, right? In a day. Now, on a day when you're feeling super triggered, super anxious, physical symptoms are high, just not doing great at all, think about what's the bare minimum you can do that day, right? Maybe you don't have to take the pressure to do like a 10 on 10 thing. Can you perform even just 3 out of 10 on that day? Or even 4 out of 10? Can you do that? Um, right. So what can the bare minimum look like? Let's take some examples. Let's say that you you have been someone who's been going to, let's say, the gym as part of a good life structure for a couple of months, right? You're also someone who has been doing a contamination exposure on a daily basis for 2 months as well. And maybe a third thing is you not Googling something about your fear. Just randomly thinking of examples of what someone might be doing or might have to do in a single day. Let's say for 2 months you've had that solid routine, and then you have this trigger or setback that happens, or you're feeling super anxious and super bad. Well, what's the bare minimum you can do that day? Maybe you're feeling a bit demotivated with the gym. Okay, well, maybe you don't have to go and just like pump over there. Maybe just pick a couple of your favorite exercises that you do enjoy doing, where you feel like you may like. I think when I was going to the gym, a couple of exercises that I really enjoyed was that rowing machine thing. That's something I really enjoyed, and I loved the feeling after that. And I just love doing squats, for example, like because squats are something that are like a head to toe kind of thing, and it gives you a bit of that rush and everything. So let's say that those are two of your like exercises that you actually enjoy doing. So maybe you don't need to do the dumbbells. Maybe you don't need to do like whatever other machine there is. I'm not an expert in the gym. Just do those two exercises. That's the bare minimum you can do on that front. Contamination exposure, you can think about it, like if you can really push yourself, that would be great. um, but okay, at least I won't Google my symptoms today, or I won't Google my fears today. I can try and do that at least. Think of the bare minimum of what you can do during those days of feeling super anxious and just like absolutely high symptoms and everything. But because the reason that that is still important is because number one, yes, you're not then putting that like immense pressure on yourself on your absolutely hardest days to be like, I have to do everything 10 on 10. But also at the same, because if you try to apply that much pressure, I mean, yes, it's important to push yourself, but you're also going full on about that pressure on yourself. That's also not helpful, because then that leads to you being super hard on yourself, because you're like, oh my god, I'm such a failure, I wasn't able to like do this and that, and I fell off the wagon and blah 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 blah. But also, it's often not helpful to go completely zero either and be like, okay, today I'm not going to stay in bed, no gym at all, um, like not going to do my contamination exposure, and I'm going to Google the hell out of things. You don't have to go to that extreme either. So it helps with doing the bare minimum. What it really helps with is lower the pressure on yourself a little bit. Practice a bit of compassion and patience with yourself during that day when things are super bad. But also not going from 0 to 100 of like, okay, I'm not going to do any recovery work at all. I'm going to push as much as I can today. I'm going to try and push with the bare minimum. And then when you start feeling better again, you can start going back to, okay, I'm going to do a full gym day today. Yes, I'm going to do my exposures. Oh, maybe I'll also finish a chapter this morning, of a book from the reading list or something like that, right? So you then get back to it once you get through that bubble a little bit. But it's really important to still keep your toes dipped into recovery, because the extremity of going from one emotion to the very next is what creates a really unstable and just unstructured and unhealthy like structure for working on recovery, and it really doesn't help. And on most of my one-to-one calls, I think I really do have to work with this for people. We're trying to push them to and create a structure for them that they can still sustain even when they're having a super bad day. I think that's one of the most common things that we have to do on these one-to-one calls. So this is going to be a short video for my standards. I usually do longer videos, but I really wanted to highlight the importance of doing the bare minimum when it comes to super hard days. Um, because it's often not wise to fall completely off the wagon. Is it important to rest a little bit on the recovery journey? Yes. Is it important to sometimes take a break? Yes. But as OCD sufferers, we can also get very addicted to completely going on the back foot and not doing anything at all for long periods. So don't do that. Again, if you have any questions, pop them in the comments. Would love to answer them. Take care. Bye.